Hey, true believers, welcome to this interview that we are doing with Mr. Richard Price. He has a show coming up in our upstairs gallery in the month of June, from June 1st to June 30th. What's the exhibition called, Richard?
The Dewatered Niagara Falls, 1969.
Okay.
And these are photographs that I took at Niagara Falls in 1969
Yeah.
of the Dewatered Falls.
So when did you start taking pictures?
When I was 13.
Okay. And what kind of gave you, what made you pick up a camera and decide to start shooting pictures?
Okay, I was going to Boy Scout camp for the summer, and I took the family's 616 Brownie special camera.
That was your first camera?
That was my first.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first.
Yeah.
And I recorded mostly images of the scouts, but also images of a couple of the buildings out at Camp Hawaii, which was
Where the camp was, yeah.
right. I still have that camera.
Do you still shoot with it?
No.
It's not. Can it be shot with? What kind of film did it take? You said
616. The beauty of it is that the negative was this big.
Yeah.
So you could make contact prints that were.
Do you speaking of negatives? Do you still have all of your old negatives? Did you save everything?
Yeah, I'm a saver.
How organized are you?
I used to be pretty organized. It's getting harder to do.
Yeah.
Partly because of my age. I'm now 84. So and partly because I've got so much stuff.
Yeah. So you got a lot of things in your collection of pictures and stuff.
Yeah, and I collect photography.
Oh, so do you get cameras and stuff like that? Or
not
just
cameras, no.
What kind of stuff do you collect?
Howard Beach photographs. Do you know Howard Beach?
In New York? Oh no, he's a person.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I grew up in New York, and there was an area
called Howard
Beach in New York. So, Howard Beach.
So Howard Beach was a very prominent Buffalo photographer.
Okay.
He did a lot of photographs of society people.
Okay.
And he dabbled in converting them into impressionist images.
Okay.
And I have a pretty good collection of his.
Oh, cool.
Including.
What era was he in? Like Howard? When was he shooting? Like what time frame?
60s through the 80s or 90s, I think.
So fairly recent.
Right.
Then. That's cool.
And so I have.
Is photography, has it been like a career for you, or is it something you kind of do as a hobby, or a little bit of both?
I guess I do it as a hobby, let's say a passion.
Yeah.
But I had a career as a medical laboratory technologist, and that was what I did for a living.
Yeah.
But I was always out there
Shooting.
photographing.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't go anywhere without this.
Yeah.
And this is just for grab shots on the street or what have you.
So you're always carrying a camera.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of not always carrying a camera myself, which I probably should because I always see cool stuff. So I guess I always have my phone, so that's the thing, but that's better than a phone, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about the exhibit. So first of all, you're shooting these pictures in 1969.
Right.
Did you ever think they would be exhibited anywhere? And have they been exhibited before?
I guess I didn't think much about it until I realized that this is going to be the 55th anniversary of when those photographs were taken and of when they turned off the American Falls. So I ended up taking, they're transparencies about this big, and I took them to Buffalo Big Prints.
Okay.
And they turned them into large photographs, which are the photographs I'll be displaying. One of them has already been exhibited at a member show at El Museo.
Okay.
So that's why that one is already framed.
Yeah. So was it like a big tourist attraction back then? Like the like the Dewatered Falls? Like, were people clamoring to see it?
Yes, in fact, that one greeting card
Yeah.
that
You
I
told me
have
about those. Yeah. Well, they'll be on display. Yeah.
shows all the
Yeah.
people that came
Yeah.
to see the falls with no water going over.
Yeah. Do you remember how long it was off?
Pretty much for the entire summer, they had to finish it before the cold weather, before the ice and so forth.
I guess I didn't know much about it, but why did they turn off the falls?
To clean up the bottom of it, because the fact about the falls is that, and the river, is that there are several layers of stone that the river flows over.
Yeah.
Some of them are soft limestone layers that break off quite easily.
Yeah.
And so they had to get in and pull away all that part that had already fallen off to prettify it, to make it look,
Yeah.
as like a real tourist attraction. And so and then at the time when they diverted the water, so going over the Canadian side,
Yeah.
that meant the American side was bare. And they collected a lot of artifacts, and people would throw silver dollars into the water and stuff like that.
Someone got rich, I guess, then. But anyway. So, how many pieces will be up at the show? How many? You said 5 or 6?
6.
Okay.
Plus a couple other images that are Niagara Falls images, but are not of that same series.
You'll have some other like souvenirs and stuff up there as well, right?
I will have a bunch of greeting cards.
Cool.
That show the same image, one of the same images that I'm exhibiting.
Okay. Very cool. So is that camera, the camera you showed me, is that what you shoot with now?
This is just my camera from when I'm out on the street, just to get.
So what are you shooting with these days?
I'm shooting with a Pentax 6x7.
Okay.
Has really good lenses. That uses 620 film.
Okay.
So it gives you a nice image.
So you don't have like a digital SLR or anything like that?
No.
That's cool.
And
it's cool that you've stuck with what, kind of got you here, You're comfortable with that.
Well,
that's cool.
For a while, in fact, the early photographs in my in the book that I published were done on a Toyo 4x5 field camera. And that's more of a chore, with the black cloth and.
Yeah, I've seen people using that. I had a friend who had a project for college or something, and out in the street, all that stuff. It's a lot.
Right.
But so the show is going to be up from June 1st to June 30th.
Right.
You're going to be setting it up in a few weeks. The opening reception will be June 7th. 7th from 5 to 7. Yeah.
First Friday.
First Friday. Right up here at Delaware Camera. So if you want to come check it out, Richard will be here. We may have some special guests at the opening, maybe. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun. This is going to be a cool, kind of unique thing that we don't get to see. It hasn't happened in 55 years, so it'll be cool to remember all this stuff, and I think it's going to be awesome.
Right.
Let's talk about your start and evolution in photography.
Okay. All right. So I started out taking photographs in 1954 or so. And then in the late 60s, I discovered 35 millimeter film, and I had an appropriate camera, and I took a lot of vacation photographs and so forth, and bored my viewers, by showing them with one of those carousel projectors.
Yeah, what kind of camera were you using? What brand?
A Nikon.
Nikon.
Yeah. And then in the 80s, I was doing a lot of large format photographs of my trips to the Southwest and so forth, landscape photography, basically.
Yeah.
And then ultimately, I started doing almost exclusively portraits.
Okay.
And I, besides the ones that are in my book, plug the 21st Century Book of Fairies. I have a copy with me.
Awesome.
I go to the Allentown Art Festival and photograph people. And I've photographed a bunch of other artists and so forth.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Did you ever display at Allentown? Like,
Oh yeah, for here. Where's my 1980 to 1992?
Okay.
When there were only 6 photographers in the show.
Yeah, now it's a whole different world.
But I know there are 25 people, 25 photographers out there.
Yeah.
And nobody's doing darkroom photography anymore.
Yeah, it's mostly digital these days. Yeah.
When I was doing this, I was printing at Campos Photography Center.
Yeah.
Which was a wet darkroom.
I remember Campos. They're now, I think he owns I Print From Home.
Yeah.
That's
right.
That's what the business is called now. Yeah.
Right. And so other than the ones from the book, I have done a bunch of other one-person exhibits and so forth.
Okay.
The Albright Knox Gallery, the Beyond in Western New York show in 2007, and so forth.
Okay. Thanks for coming on and talking to me, and hopefully the show is a giant success.
Hope so.
All right.